Rhea Ripley reveals which match surpassed her favorite WrestleMania moment. WrestleMania is WWE's biggest event of the year. The Eradicator Rhea Ripley has had several WrestleMania moments. Recently, while talking to Chris Van Vliet on his Insight podcast, Rhea Ripley shared that her match against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39 was her biggest moment. That is, until this year at WrestleMania 41, when she wrestled IYO and Bianca Belair for the Women's World title. That is now Rhea's biggest moment, despite ending up on the losing end. Honestly, the WrestleMania moment, I always said my match with Charlotte at WrestleMania 39, because it's everything that I wanted my first Mania to be. Because it ended up being the COVID Mania. I didn't get my family, I didn't get the crowd, I didn't get anything that normally goes into a Mania. And it was just like, wow, I'm back at the place that I really didn't like going to every day, and this is my WrestleMania. So to then go and face Charlotte again, but it being in front of a crowd, and I saw my family in the front row, I had all the adrenaline in the world. Everything was so perfect, and then I beat her for the first time. I won the SmackDown Women's Championship, that was my WrestleMania moment. But then now I feel like the match with IYO and Bianca has triumphed that. I am literally so proud of that match. I love those two so much, going through NXT with them, overcoming things with them, watching them overcome things, watching them grow as performers, and then me growing as performer to get to that point where we could go to WrestleMania and have such a stellar match, and have people chanting, "This is awesome," and us being the opener. I couldn't ask for anything more. I understand I lost, it doesn't matter at that time. It really didn't, because that was IYO's moment, but we all got a moment from it at the same time, Rhea Ripley said. WWE's Rhea Ripley talks receiving opportunities due to injuries and crowd reactions. As the saying goes, plans are always subject to change in WWE. In Rhea Ripley's case, two major changes previously worked in her favor, specifically by taking her career to new levels. During a recent appearance on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Ripley reflected on these pivotal moments, the first of which came about under some rather unfortunate circumstances. Amidst the 2018 Mae Young Classic, Ripley faced Tegan Nox in the quarterfinals, with Nox slated to advance to the next round against IYO, then known as Io Shirai. Due to a mid-match injury to her knee and tibia, however, Nox was deemed unable to continue. As a result, the referee awarded the victory to Ripley, who went on to wrestle Sky instead. IYO didn't really speak English at that time either. It was very, very rough. We had 20 minutes to put a 15-minute match together and it was just alright, plan something, Ripley said. I'm still trying to get over this really traumatic situation which I was just a part of. I still had Tegan's screams in the back of my head and just the noises that were coming out of her. It's just like a really specific noise that a human makes when they're in literal pain. But then going out there and putting on such a good match with IYO, first time ever touching, having Hunter come out and raise my hand on the stage, it was just like I feel like they're noticing now. Prior to her impromptu match against Sky, Ripley noted that WWE didn't use her on WWE NXT programming, though she did make rounds on the brand's untelevised live events. In general, Ripley felt like she didn't belong amongst the developmental roster, as many of her cohorts picked on her. After seeing her performance against Sky and a nod of approval from Paul Triple H Levesque, however, she felt more included and set on an upward track. https://www.wrestling-inc.com/1898930/wwe-rhea-ripley-talks-receiving-opportunities-due-injuries-crowd-that upward track led Ripley to WWE NXT UK, and eventually, back to the NXT brand, where she dethroned Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship in December 2019. According to Ripley, though, that title win almost didn't happen. That was when we were filming at Full Sail University. We're filming 4 weeks in a row, so it was like alright, we're here all day. We're going to be filming 4 shows, so everything's already pre-planned. I was supposed to wrestle Shayna and I was supposed to lose. I wasn't supposed to win, Ripley said. It was supposed to be a throwaway. Rhea is here, she lost to the champion, now we probably don't know what to do with her, situation. But because I got such a massive reaction from the Full Sail crowd, Sarah Amato literally ran into the locker room. She's like, we have to change the ending of the match. Rhea can't lose. We're going to do a DQ because that's all we can really think of right now to continue it. So it was a DQ finish. I think I hit her with a chair and then I sat on the chair and told her to come back in my ring because I wanted to continue fighting. Then it trickled down and we had the match with the championship. The rest is really much history. Ripley's reign as NXT Women's Champion spanned a recognized length of 108 days, with a televised title defense against Bianca Belair in addition to live event-based ones against Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, and Chelsea Green. The Queen Charlotte Flair unseated Ripley at WrestleMania 36, though the Eradicator later scored revenge by beating her for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship 3 years later. Will Liv Morgan leave Judgment Day? All you need to know about her apparent replacement. Liv Morgan's 2025 has been a mixed bag. On one hand, she successfully captured her 4th tag team championship with Raquel Rodriguez after WrestleMania 41 and elevated her status as one of the most prominent performers on the main roster. However, her momentum has come to a big halt owing to her disastrous shoulder injury on the June 16 edition of RAW, in a match against Kairi Sane. The former world champion suffered a nasty fall with her shoulder hitting the mat awkwardly. Morgan immediately rinsed in pain and rolled out of the ring while still holding her shoulder in agony. It was later reported that she had suffered a dislocated shoulder and would require surgery and thus taking her out of action for a couple of months. However, this absence has raised a big question about her place in Judgment Day. But why? Roxanne Perez can very well be Liv Morgan's worst nightmare in the Judgment Day. On the June 30th edition of Raw, Roxanne Perez, along with Raquel Rodriguez, held on to the women's tag team titles in the absence of Morgan, with the Judgment Day voting unanimously in her favor. This move saved Rodriguez from being forced to relinquish the belts in the absence of Morgan. Moreover, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Perez has been a constant help to the stable and has also interfered in matches involving Morgan and Rodriguez. And ever since Mysterio captured the IC title at WrestleMania, Belair has realized that Morgan and Mysterio are now the top dogs of the stable. A position Belair yearned for after banishing Damian Priest. Many expected the Irishman to cost Mysterio the title just like he did to Priest, but instead, he has effectively used Perez as a point of contention between the new stable leaders. When Morgan eventually returns, she will certainly not be happy to find out about being replaced, all thanks to Belair's behind-the-scenes scheming. After all, Morgan is the same woman who, after the departures of Priest and Rhea Ripley, had become the de facto leader of Judgment Day. In storyline, Morgan had forced her way into the faction and ultimately Mysterio's arms, so it's only natural she now fears Roxanne Perez might be doing the same. WWE has been planting seeds for a Morgan face turn for some time, and now the moment feels right. A dramatic split from Judgment Day could launch her into a fresh run as one of WWE's top babyface stars. Canadian man accused of stalking WWE star Liv Morgan at Florida home. Altamonte Springs, Florida, a Canadian man is facing federal stalking charges after authorities say he traveled from Canada to Florida and attempted to break into the Pasco County home of professional wrestler Liv Morgan. What we know. Authorities say Sean Chan, a 41-year-old man from Canada, flew to Orlando the same day his passport was issued and drove to WWE star Liv Morgan's home in Pasco County, Florida, on May 31st. Surveillance footage captured Chan circling the house with what appeared to be a rifle, later determined to be a BB gun he reportedly found on Morgan's porch. He attempted to enter the home, appeared to search for a spare key, and left a handwritten note before leaving after more than 2 hours. Morgan was not home at the time. Chan was arrested 3 days later at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando after showing up for an event. He was recognized by security and taken into custody by deputies. He now faces charges of burglary in Pasco County and a federal charge of interstate stalking. What we don't know. Authorities have not released the full contents of the backpack Chon had with him during the attempted break-in. While 2 vials with Chinese writing were recovered when he was arrested, their contents have not been confirmed publicly. It's also unclear whether Chon had any previous in-person or online contact with Morgan or if she was specifically targeted based on delusional beliefs. The backstory. According to federal documents, Chon claimed to be staying at the WWE Performance Center when questioned by U.S. Customs but later drove nearly 2 hours to Morgan's home. The note he left included statements about being disrespected online and accused others of invading his privacy. This isn't the first time a WWE performer has been targeted by a fan. In 2015, another man, Armando Montalvo, was shot by deputies outside the WWE Performance Center after showing up with a knife in an attempt to meet a female wrestler.